Hello guys and welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to talk about the new class in Elder Scrolls Online Elsweyr called the Necromancer. So the Necromancer is, of course, as you can hear on the word, is going to have necromantic spells. And it's of course something to do with the dead. Necromancers has probably been the most requested class in this game, and well, the developers of the game has finally heard the call and they made a Necromancer. The funny part about the Necromancer is that some of the spells is actually it's not allowed to use. For example, if you look on this one here, it says criminal act. So you're not allowed to use that spell in a city because summoning a skeletal mage, for example, is not allowed. It's, you know, I think Elder Scrolls Online is very law based, so if you're summoning dead people in a city, it's actually seen as a bad thing. But again, it's only in cities. When you're out questing, dungeons, whatever you're doing, no one really cares. But let's go through this. This is the new class in the game, so if any one of you out there is playing Elder Scrolls Online and you want to see what the new class can do, well, let's see. So first of all, we have the first, you can say, talent tree-ish, the Grave Lord. So we have an ultimate called the Frozen Colossus, where unleash a frostbitten flesh closer to pulverize enemies in the rear. The Colossus smashes the ground 3 times over 3 seconds, dealing 3500 damage, frost damage, with each smash. Each smash applies major vulnerability to any enemies hit for 3 seconds, increasing the damage taken by 30. So the ultimate here is summoning a very big Frozen Colossus. And we can also upgrade it. So we can upgrade it so, looks cool in these pictures. Deals disease damage, the Colossus deals more damage with each smash. That's cool. The final smash stuns all the enemies. Okay, so I think this is kind of PvP, this is PvE. That's cool. Let's keep it to the normal. Flame Skull. Lob an explosive skull at an enemy dealing 2600 damage, flame damage. Every third cast of this ability deals 20% increased damage. Blast Bone. Summon a flaming skeleton from the ground after 2.5 seconds. The skeleton runs after the target and explodes when it gets close to them, dealing 4497 flame damage to all enemies nearby. Discrete the ground at the target location, dealing 9000 frost damage over 10 seconds. Consume a corpse on the cast to deal 20% more damage. Okay, so if there's a corpse close to you, you're consuming it and deal more damage. An ally standing in the graveyard can activate the Grave Robber synergy, dealing 4000 frost damage to enemies in the rear and healing you for the damage done. That's quite cool. Skeletal Mage, so for 16 seconds you are summoning a mage that can deal 898 damage every second. And Shocking Siphon. Violently drain the last spark of life from a corpse, dealing 8856 damage, shock damage over 12 seconds to all enemies around the corpse and between you and the corpse. While slotted, your damage is increased by 3%. So that's the spells. Let's see what the passive says. Reusable parts. When an enemy dies within 4 seconds of being damaged by one of your Necromancer abilities, your next Blast Bone, Skeleton Mage or Spirit Mender cast is free. That's quite cool. Death Neo. Increase your critical strike chance against enemies under 20% health by 10 for each Grave Lord ability slotted. So if you have 6 spells, then you have 60 increased critical strike on the enemy. That's quite cool. Dismember. While a Grave Lord ability is active, your spells and physical penetration are increased by 1500. Rapid Rot. Increase your damage done with damage over time effects by 10. So that was all the passives. What about if we're merging these spells? So first of all, we have Flame Skull, that is a damage spell. So I can see we can actually merge it into a magic or stamina. So that means Necromancers can actually also be a stamina build. So that's quite important. So we can increase this one, we can morph it into convert into stamina ability and deal poison damage. Casting any Necromancer ability counts towards the third cast. What? Casting any Necromancer ability counts towards the third cast. So that means all my Necromancer abilities with this one active will have the third cast bonus. That's quite cool. We also have this one here. The third cast of the skull will bounce to other enemies. Well, let's try and make a stamina build. Well, actually, before we make that, let's test abilities. So do we have anything at all we can test on? What is that? Cinch Tiger. Oh, so is there any kind of enemies we can test on? Okay, so that's the Venom Skull. Okay, what about the Blast Bone? Oh, you can only have one active at a time, so you summon a skeleton that is exploding to it. Cool. And then we have Boneyard. That was the AoE spell. So we're getting also graves up here. That's quite cool that it's kind of a grave place. Let's try it again. So if you can trick your enemy in here, that's pretty cool. And can we morph it? Reduce the resistance of enemies in the rear. You can use your own synergy. Oh, that's quite cool that you can use the bonus. And the Blast Bone Skeleton, you can also upgrade that one to stamina ability. Converts it to stamina and deals disease damage. Reduce healing receives on enemy's hit. The skeleton deals more damage the longer it chases. Let's try the stamina build. So now if we find anyone else. I guess we have no enemies here. There we go. So now it looks like, now it's green and explodes with disease damage. Cool. And then we had the Skeletal Mage. And when you summon the Skeletal Mage, it's actually just a mage. And he's supposed to deal 900 damage every second. Let's see here. Why is there no enemies at all here? Oh, there we go. Of course he doesn't want to attack. Oh, the new targets. Okay, then it just shoots. Nothing special, just shooting. And I can even use my own grave robbery. It's quite cool. Okay. And he can also be moved. It's quite cool. You can either move him into a mage spell, so the mage deals damage to all enemies around the initial target. But you can also make it to a stamina build. So convert into stamina and deal physical damage. The other deals more damage with each attack. So now instead of he's a mage, he's actually an archer. That's really cool. That you can now summon your own personal archer that can help you. Doesn't seem like he can. It looks like he's missing all his shots all the time. I guess he's a fine passive damage in the background. Then we have Shocking Siphon. While you drain the last spark of life from a corpse, dealing 9000 damage over time. Oh, that's the spell, so if I use it on this guy here. It now deals a lot of damage on that place and between here, so I can actually make like a damage area here. And we can merge it into a stamina ability, magic ability, so converts into stamina ability and deals disease damage. The corpse explodes at the end of the siphon. Restore magic while siphoning. So now we actually have a full stamina Necromancer build. And the last one here is, it's not a stamina, but it's kind of the same. That's quite cool. So full stamina build and of course also a full mage build. And then we have the frozen Colossus that you can either make into disease or stun. We can make it into disease. Let's see if we can. I cannot summon him yet. Maybe I can. I killed that guy there. There we go, it's ready. So if I go against this guy here and use my Colossus. Damn. That was a big guy. But it's pretty cool that all your spells is kind of summoning demonic foes. So I can even be a stamina build and doing summonings. So that was the Grave Lord spec. Let's remove all the spells and go to the Bone Tyrant. So the Grave Lord is kind of damage dealing only, so very damage dealers. Bone Tyrant is supposed to be a tank spec, and Living Death is supposed to be a healing spec. So you have a damage tank healing. Of course you can mix it in this game. So the first one we have is the ultimate, that is become a horrific bone Goliath, increasing your max health by 30,000 yeah, 30,000 for 20 seconds and immediately destroying 30,000 health, so you actually get full health. While transform, your light attacks restore health, and fully charged heavy attacks restore also health, just higher health. This ability scales of your max health. And we can morph it into gain AoE bash attacks, gain an aura that drains nearby enemies of their health. So you can have more damage or more health. We cannot use it yet, but in the end of this testing we probably can. Let's do the passives first. So Death Glemming. Whenever an enemy you are in combat with dies within 28 meters of you, restore 100 magic and stamina. This effect can only occur every second. Reduce the damage you take from over time abilities by 10% while you have a Bone Tyrant active. So this one here is actually helping you all the time, and this one here you need to have a spell active. Okay. Increase your healing received by 2% for each Bone Tyrant ability slotted. Currently bonus. Does it actually work if I put it here and go to this one over here? So if, for example, we put it on the other bar over here. No, it needs to be slotted here. Okay. So for each healing received, so that means if I slot them all like this, then now we're receiving 12% more healing. Increasing your max health by 2000, that's a lot. I mean, we have a lot of health. Okay, so that was all the passives. Then we have the spells. Death Skiff, slice into your enemy's life force, dealing 2000 magic damage and healing you for 2800. For the first enemy hit, heal grows in power by 900 for each additional enemy hit, up to 5 times. This portion of ability scales off your max health. And we can upgrade it into a healing magic spell that gains healing over time, or stamina, converts it to stamina ability and prevent healing done to your targets. So okay, let's test that one. Actually, before we're testing that one, let's take the next one also. Wrap yourself in hard bone, granting you major resolve and major ward, increasing your physical resistance and spell resistance by 5000 for 17 seconds. And you can upgrade so pools in ranged enemies. Reduce the cost of your Necromancer summon abilities. This one sounds fun. So if we test the first spell, so that's like the spell we are... What did it do? While active, enemies that strike you with ranged attacks will be pooled. So if anyone shoots me. But also you can see we're getting this cool armor on our body, that's really cool. Okay, can you do some damage on me? Okay, so now every time I'm using this damage ability, it's actually also healing me. That's really cool. And then we have the next one, sap the lingering life from fresh corpses, granting you 2 ultimate and healing 700 every 1 second for 2 seconds per corpse consumed. This ability scales off your max health. While slotted, your damage taken is reduced by 3%. So if we had any corpses like this guy over here, I could actually suck his soul and now get healing. And if there was more than one, I could get more healing. And we can upgrade, okay, I cannot upgrade while this guy is living. These abilities doesn't really deal much damage. It's more like healing. Can we flee from him so we don't kill him? I want to use him for more testing. Could you please go back? Thank you. And we can morph it into gain major protection, gain more ultimate per corpse. Sounds nice. Next one, place a totem of bone. Totem. Oh, that's nice. Place a totem of bone at your feet that gives minor protection to you and your allies for 8 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 8%. After 2 seconds, the totem instills fear in enemies, holding them in place for 4 seconds. The totem, and we can morph it into the totem, can be summoned up to 28 meters away. Allies can activate synergy to damage enemies and apply minor vulnerability to enemies. That's really cool with the range, because now in, for example, PvP, you can actually, it's like Tremor Totem, Static Totem in World of Warcraft for shamans. So you can now set up the totems, and after 2 seconds it stuns. I mean, this is exactly what shamans have in World of Warcraft. Then we have Grave Grasp. Summon 3 patches of skeletal claws from the ground in front of you, snaring your enemies by 50% for 5 seconds, inflicting minor maim, reducing the damage done by 15. Can immobilize targets, so it has a chance for actually holding targets. Empower allies and strengthen your summons. Hitting your skeletal mage or spirit mender, enhance them for 5 seconds, increasing their effectiveness. So you make your summons 40% stronger. And your allies get light attack by 40, that's quite cool. Let's test that. Oh, so it's like that. So you're summoning Doom Doom. That's a boring spell. Well, I guess it's a cool tank spec because of... Could we drain it? Okay, so the ultimate is now ready. Goal yet? Let's test it. Test it on the tiger up there. Oh, that's cool. I mean, we are really big. And we deal quite a lot of damage, and I have 15k health. And what did my bonus do? Yeah, healing more. It's probably one of the coolest ultimates I have seen in this game so far. So that is pretty much the Bone Tyrant. That is a tank spec. I would say, I mean, the remote totem here is good for PvP for all cases. This one here is nice for some self-healing. I mean, all the specs here could also be, this one here could also be used in PvE, but yeah, I still think Ravenlord deals more damage. But again, most tankly spec, it can also be used for some nice things in PvP. Gravelord, that is purely damage. And then we have the Living Death, that is a healing spec. So the ultimate is kind of overpowered. It brings back your allies. Bring your allies back from the brink of death, resurrecting up to 3 allies at the target locations. So if you're in a raid, you can basically just res 3 of your teammates, or in a dungeon, like boom. And you can merge it into, you restore magicka and stamina for each ally. You consume other corpses in the area and summon blast bones. I'm not sure what blast bones is, but I guess it's something cool. Because it's small. I mean, we can actually test it on enemies. But I have to kill something too. Let's see the other spells. Corrupted Curse. While you haven't... Let's load off the spell so we can see the bonuses. While you have negative effects on you, your healing done is increased by 8. While you have Living Death abilities slotted, your critical strike chance with all healing abilities is increased by up to 20% in proportion to the severity of the target's wound. Okay. When you use an ability on a corpse, you generate 10 ultimate. This effect can occur once every 16 seconds. While you have Necromancer summon active, your magic and stamina recovery is increased by 300. So that means if I summon a mage and a healing spirit mender, I will actually get 600. I guess. Probably not, it probably doesn't stack. So the first spell here is sacrifice your own power to repair damaged flesh, healing you or an ally in front of you for 5000, but applying minor defile to yourself for 4 seconds, reducing your healing receive and health recovery. So that means I can... So right now it's healing me. It heals you or an ally in front of you. So if I'm missing health on my allies, I can actually heal him. But I'm getting this one here, minor defile. That's fine. That's okay. And we can upgrade it. Grant resistance to the target equal to the half amount healed. Consume a corpse to heal a second target. Huh. Embrace the power of death, removing up to 2 negative effects from yourself. While slotted, the cost of all your abilities are reduced by 3%. And we can give it, you restore magic and stamina for each negative effect removed. Increase the amount of negative effects removed. So instead of 2, we can actually remove 4. And I guess we need someone we can actually remove something from, so we will not be able to test that. Life amid death. Release resistant fragment of fallen souls to the target location. Deal healing you and your allies for 3000. Consume a corpse on cast to continue to heal you and your allies in the area. 3200 health over 5 seconds. So that means I can release resistant fragment of fallen souls. Do I need a do I need a corpse before I can do that? That's going to take a bit of time. And here we go. Okay, so it required actually a target. So if there's a corpse on the ground, we can have a healing that is healing everyone. Fallen souls at the target location. I mean, is that really a good thing? Because if there's no dead enemies, the spell is kind of waste. What on a boss fight with no trash mob, that would be like the worst spell in the game. Consume a corpse also removes the negative effects. Can consume multiple corpses to increase the duration. Sounds weird. Then we have the Spirit Mender. You summon a spirit for 16 seconds that heals every second, 1000 healing. And we can morph it into the spirit heals for 3 times the amount, but lasts half as long. Some of the damage you take is transferred to the spirit. So for tanks, that would be pretty cool to have this one here. And healers for like a burst healing, that would be pretty cool to have this one here. Because now when I summon it, it's only active for 8 seconds. But it heals 3 times as much. And of course I can just summon it again when it's removed. That's quite cool. It's like a healing totem for World of Warcraft. Siphon the last remnant of life from a corpse, healing 9000 health over 12 seconds to yourself and all allies between you and the corpse. And also heals all allies in radius of around you. You restore stamina while siphoning. So we also have a little stamina build there. So now if I had a target, I could pretty much take the things from it. So I mean, that is pretty much all the spells we have for the Necromancer. I mean, it looks fun. I think you can do some great damage summoning abilities, summoning spell specs, and also some really cool tank specs for this build. And for the healing, I'm kind of like I don't really know. I mean, this one here is fine, and the racing is also cool, and this totem, well, this Spirit Mender. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try it out when the game releases. So yeah, so that is the Necromancer and all its spells. So thanks guys for watching, and if you have any questions, leave down a comment. Else I can just say thanks guys for watching, and well, have a good day.